Hello, I'm Keith Wooden here at Housing Works in Redmond, Oregon. I'm our real estate and facilities director. I have been for about 10 years. And about me, well, I've got two beautiful children and a beautiful wife. My youngest is still in preschool, and I've got one in kindergarten. And they are kind of the center of my world. And so I'm definitely a family man. I've been in Central Oregon for 10 years, and I came from Salem. It's where I kind of was born and raised. I went to college at Oregon State University, go Beavers, kind of an Oregon guy who's always liked Central Oregon. I've always hiked and skied here and fished here at the lakes and have family here. And so it was great 10 years ago when I had the opportunity to come this way. Well, as real estate, I'm the real estate and facilities director here at Housing Works, and we're a small shop, so we wear a lot of hats. My responsibilities involve the asset management of our entire portfolio of 800 units, as well as most of the development activities here in coordination with our executive director, who's kind of the most seasoned developer probably in this type of financing in the state. Really, my day-to-day stuff is managing kind of the property management group and taking care of planning and any issues on the properties, and then working with banks, architects, investment groups, and some passion of mine too is, with my science background, is putting efficiency measures into our buildings and our new stuff and retrofitting stuff that we have kind of on the ground already when we do rehabs. And so it's a full spectrum. I've always had kind of a desire to help people and to have a purpose for what I do. And this is just one way to be able to do it, is to work in an organization like this that you can perform very challenging, creative, kind of dynamic work, and it's for a purpose. And so it's kind of the best of both worlds. And that drive is kind of what let me start in the field, out of college, at a real estate group in Salem, and that it led me here to kind of the development stuff that was really kind of more of a passion of mine, and some place where I really felt I fit in. And it's been great, and we've had a great time. I manage the whole continuum of new construction or rehab work, coming from the inception of the idea and the concept through the design phase, through closing, actually to lease up, and when we hand it over to our property management company as well, which is probably a 18-month project on minimum for a sizable development that involves investors and banks and several partners. And as people who've worked in this industry know, that the financing structures of affordable housing are not typical debt and equity kind of scenarios like you would see from a private development. They're far more complicated. Probably up to 10 sources of financing in any one transaction, and a lot of different parties at the table that have their own input along that whole process of 18 months of getting from start to finish. Affordable housing, when I got here, was a big topic of discussion. There were studies being done. Housing prices were skyrocketing. Bend was, on the top of the list in the third quarter of '06 for the most appreciation in the country. So naturally, we had affordable housing issues when I got here 10 years ago. Then the recession hit. Bend hit the other side of that negative downturn and went down the most of anybody in the country. We had substantial vacancy, up to 40% in some of our multifamily units. Rents dropped down substantially, and this roller coaster, it was high, it dipped down, but at no time has it been as crazy as what we see today in this crisis, where you've got where you've got, the same units of housing, in a multifamily is the world that we kind of live in, that we monitor, or they're going up $150 a year. And so you're taking a $600 2-bedroom unit, and now we're looking at kind of across the board, it's over $1,000, and that's just happened in the last few years. And so that's fairly unprecedented, and I've heard of single-family rents going from $1,200 that were in very desirable, nice places 6-7 years ago that I rented. That are now running for $3,100 a month. That is unprecedented, and that's the face of affordable housing today. Is a market that's kind of thrown way out of whack, and where people have nowhere to go, they're forced into these situations. And what do? You pay 50, 60, 70% of your income towards rent because you live here. You got to have a place to live. That's your source of stability, and it's your home. And so you've got to start somewhere. So you make sacrifices everywhere else, and it's very difficult, and it's putting a large burden on the people that call Central Oregon home. There's a lot of misconceptions about affordable housing too. I think one of the most common is that if you're driving around town and you see an uncapped kind of multifamily property or single family property or something that just doesn't look great, it doesn't look well maintained, a lot of people have the misconception that is what affordable housing is. If you're looking, and then further is that, the people there, they don't work, they're just kind of sponges of the government system, which a lot of people would not agree with, and clearly that is not what we do here, and that would be a huge message for us to be able to describe what affordable housing really is, and most of the structure of affordable housing is where people have to pay their rent, and it's just a place where people, there used to be a formula where if you worked and you worked hard, you could live in a stable household, and it's quality, and it's a desirable place to live. Well, that equation is not working right now, as people are working 1-2 jobs, they're working very hard, and they don't have a place to live because rents are too high, and that's a real problem, and that's what we're here to fix and help with. But we can't do it ourselves. It's a community problem. We need our partners. We need our cities. We need our citizens. We need our businesses to be able to come together and help us solve it, because we're just one little piece. We're kind of the experts for the financing and the management of the housing, but getting it built, a lot of people can do that, and we need their help to make that work. People here at Housing Works are just the best. We have a fun group to work with, but also, the type of work that I get to do here, the challenging, dynamic, creative, competitive work is highly desirable, probably by most people in their professions. I get it all, so I'm kind of lucky that I get to do that, and it's very satisfying in the end too, because it's all for a purpose. And when you get done, and when you open your development and it gets leased up and people move in, and you get the hugs, you get the cheers, that makes the 18 months totally worth every sweat, every gray hair that you got, all the stress, and the, oh my gosh, what just happened, kind of things that happen along the way. It makes it all worth it, and it's great.